We have
Recording his own.
Rhode Island's Dave McMillan against someone
Marcel.
with it. Marcel again.
Yeah.
So we're going to get Marcel 2 in a row, which is fantastic. I think one of the great things about a smaller field like this, Overpower is a new game, but it gives us the ability to see some of the better players play, but also we're getting a big look at a lot of the different decks. So we're not necessarily going to just always put the undefeated players. We want people who are coming back to the game to get to see some different ideas in deck building, some different strategies, and see how those different strategies are played against someone like Marcel, Marcel is unarguably one of the best players of all time in Overpower.
Using the traditional Cadillac deck, whereas Dave is coming in with Mole Man, and Electra sees some play, but Mole Man is almost none.
Now, the irony of this match is, for those who are just getting back in or don't follow a lot of online chatter, there was a request for a while to change the way one of Mole Man's cards works. Mole Man has a card that allows all the attacks for one battle to be shifted to him, but for whatever reason, the original rules body called the Overpower Legion ruled that you could not play it defensively when an attack is made. So you have to take an entire turn to get it in play, which makes it a significantly weaker card. It makes it possible for your opponent to negate it and then fire back. And so there was a big push to do that. Now we, as myself and Shawn and Dave McMillan, who's playing him as members of BNG, we're holding off on making any changes to the rules until we launch an official core set with a new rule book. And there was a lot of kind of debate and back and forth. And Marcel, who is a self-proclaimed notorious, he likes to troll people. He made a lot of cartoons about make the mole great again and pay the mole toll. And so it's pretty funny that now Dave, who didn't want to make Mole Man better, is going to use Mole Man against Marcel, who ran a online campaign to make Mole Man great again.
Irony.
Irony. Not that Mole Man in the game has ever been that great, but that's what's great about the changing meta. We're going to see Dave McMillan is one of the most creative deck builders in the game. He's always playing something different, something innovative. And I'd say, although he's never gotten first place in a tournament, I would bet if you look at the last 5 years, he has as many top 8 performances as Phil Miller and is in second or tied with him for the most top 8s. Dave's really good at making decks that perform consistently enough to always go 5-2, and he's been in a lot of finals. He just hasn't been able to close out that match. So I have every bit of faith that Dave McMillan has got something tricky up his sleeve with Mole Man, and it's going to be really funny to watch Marcel handle it.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. He's a great player, great strategist. He always thinks of every angle. Sometimes he'll unnervingly read your hand. He's a great player, and I'm excited to see what he does with Mole Man.
Let's see what the mole does. Let's see if Marcel has to pay the mole toll. So Dave is using his phone to flip a coin. We'll see who goes first. I feel like a lot of older players do this. They won't put their heroes out till the second before the game starts. You know, these really old school theoried players, they don't want the other guy to have time to plan anything out till the last second.
The Dave, seeing the traditional Cadillac deck, already knows what he's doing.
Now the advantage for Dave is Dave has tested against this deck a million times. And like Shawn pointed out earlier, Dave's in our play area. We practice a lot with Dave. We play against a lot of these decks, and we keep a standing Cadillac deck together to drill constantly because it used to be such a famous deck build. So Dave is absolutely going to go into this. Now, it looks like Marcel has drawn an event. Any character is going to be able to use any power cards. That's actually a great card for
Very
Dave.
Good for Dave, yeah. His defense just opened up significantly.
Exactly. It's if Marcel decides to gun for Mole Man this hand, he's going to have to deal with all the 7s and 8s. Now, it looks like Marcel's drawn his Merlin, which is the new version of the Any Hero Negate. He's got an 8 multi that he places. Dave pulls the 11 right away, so he's starting right off with some heat from the heroes. Marcel drops a Teamwork. Dave's going to place
Yeah,
at
sorry.
6. So Dave's one of the strategies I'm noticing right now. So Dave has got 2 cards placed that cannot be defended with specials. But Marcel's got that power leech right off the bat, which that's got to scare Dave if he doesn't have an activator that can deal with it.
Dave does like to use Muir Island, which does have a lot of defense, specifically Professor X stopping special card attacks. So
it does have multiple ways to deal with it. It does
yeah,
not have a negate. But Dave a lot of
true.
times has not played a negator, but he is playing the Mole Man, who does have a negate. I noticed we got a couple people who just jumped in the chat, guys. Thanks for joining us on this stream. To keep you up to date, there is a event in place that any character can play any power cards this battle.
We get 2 from Marcel, and it looks like 1 from Dave. I don't believe either of them had any dupes, so.
We see Marcel playing that new BMG 5, make an additional attack instead of one of the colored 4s. Just really trying to maximize every point of venture he can get out of this Cadillac. All right, so the 5 goes across the table. We have our opening salvo. So it looks like a lot of what Dave's doing in this deck is trying to play attacks that have a really niche way they can be defended. I know that 6 off Electra, there's a subtype that cannot defend it. I'm going to take a look at the Oracle text quickly.
I think it's fighting. It's a shuriken.
Let us quickly look her up. Usually I know these things. I'm pretty good with the card pool, but I forget the subtype. So that
Cannot
card
be defended by a card with a fighting icon. Shawn was correct.
Shawn's correct. Now that's a good advantage for Marcel in that Marcel's not playing a battle site. So a lot of times those 6s, they can't be defended by an activator, so they're really hard to block. All right, Marcel's going to try to get rid of the Mole Man 5 energy that cannot be defended by a special. Now that's an opponent targeted card, so Dave would have to use a negate to stop it.
Definitely doesn't want to do that with while staring at Power Leech.
Dave plays a Captain Britain. He's almost certainly going to put out Britain's Champion, which is a great... Marcel hates to see that card right now. So Marcel can choose to negate this as it's played. If he allows this card to resolve, it will remain in play. Dave will have the ability to shift any targeted attack with a special card to it. Essentially, that card's going to sit on the board and make Power Leech a dead card, because Dave will never use it until the Power Leech is thrown as an attack. Marcel negates it with his negate from hand.
Wow.
Marcel's going to opt to keep the offensive pressure on with the teamwork.
Well, he knows he has a negate for the 11, and he knows his 8 is stronger than the 6. Or he could just he might be thinking, I'm going to make him run, because if he stays in, Power Leech is going to eat.
Now, the only offense that's showing on the board right now is an 8 multi for numerical offense from Marcel. So Dave fires with the 3. I can't imagine he would follow up with anything. He needs to make Marcel think he can defend that Power Leech.
And assuming he can, he will have gotten 2 of the training cards and both placed cards. Yeah, that Power Leech is quite scary right now if he doesn't have a way to deal with it.
I mean, Marcel's in a pretty good position here.
Are they consulting the judge right now?
No, I think Marcel's asking to read who is on his battle site.
That's interesting. Does Marcel have any cards in hand?
He does not, but he's trying to decide if he wants to stay in and throw the 8.
Or throw the 8.
If Marcel stays in, you know, well, yeah, I think he's just going to fire it off.
No.
That is a Shadow Cat, and it's going to be the full avoid.
Well, you had to punch with it.
So this is the question here. Does Dave throw something, get the 6 on, and then eat the 8, and then go to the next battle?
I don't
I
think
think
he does. With
no,
the
I think he
negate,
runs.
yeah, with the negate placed, the 11 is dead. You're gonna lose venture anyway, and you don't want to have a power card multi and a special card multi, making it the next hit on your only 8 ranker is a kill shot.
Yeah. And I think if you can get out of that first hand, eating up that huge placing advantage, going through all the cards that he did, including the Power Leech, which is one of the most powerful cards in the Cadillac, and you're only getting 2 venture ahead on you from the other opponent, I think you're in a great pace. Hold on a
Yeah,
moment. I
that's
see some comments. Gustav, Power Leech dripping Dave of 4 cards and possible 17 points of venture would be a huge battle swing. Absolutely, it would be.
yeah. Dave wasn't gonna stay in staring at Power Leech, knowing that it would just rip his entire placing advantage. Absolutely, it was too devastating to stick around.
And I agree, Gustav. Really great to see Mole Man. Now, it looks like Dave's discarding some dupes here.
Oh,
I saw 2 activators go by.
yeah. It looks like he's. I didn't. Yeah, Banshee and Shadow Cat.
I
It
think we just
looks
saw 2, either
and
2.
one more from Dave. So I think he only has 5 in hand. That's not good, especially against how we know the Cadillac runs.
Marcel dropped 2 power cards. He's loading up on, so we've got a teamwork, a 7 and an 8 placed.
So he can fire off that teamwork, and like yeah, Dave only has 2 cards in hand. That was a very unfortunate second hand for him. And we
We'll
know
see
that
what
there.
happens here. You know, Marcel's the kind of player that's he's gonna jump in when he has that advantage. We'll see if he may just go 5 on him and try to go for it. He may go 4. I think we're gonna see a big, big bet.
Now he discarded 2 activators, but it looks like he only has 1 in hand. So maybe
It's
I don't know. I'm lost.
He must have 2 in hand. Now we do know
Just
Muir
picked up
Island.
1.
Dave's almost definitely going to be playing that draw 3.
Yeah, yeah. And
So
if he did have that Shadow Cat activator, then he's not out of it. But Spawn does have a negate, so he might swing for it right now.
we'll see. Marcel's got his thumb on all of them.
Dave had a very unfortunate second hand, so
Yeah, that's just a bummer. That's just every card game has a certain amount of variance, and once in a while, you play enough of it, you're going to see most iterations, and sometimes variance is just going to beat you. You're the best players in the world will sometimes just lose to the way the variance of the deck lays itself out.
and you can't beat yourself up over that. We've all had bad games, and as long as it wasn't a decision making thing, that's an easier pill to swallow. But yeah,
I think
Dave is very, very much behind right now with that draw. So yeah, he didn't even opt to look. He's like, you want to give me, you're just betting 3. I will gladly take that. Yeah. Now he has to have a very good third hand, or Marcel certainly going 2 for the win.
Gustav, we actually run the Boston event, so we will all be there. Most of us will be playing. I will probably do the commentary with someone else. I think Phil Keffer is actually going to show up and play that event. I don't want to speak for him, but I think that's what's going to happen. Are you coming to Boston? Because we'd love to see you. That would be fantastic. All right, we see that Marcel's got finite power in his hand. I didn't get a good look at what else he's got. He's almost certainly going to go 2 for the win and fight a little bit here.
Yeah,
But
he's got some power cards. We have a duplicate Mole Man. I think that's the negate.
that is definitely the negate, but at least Dave only had 1 dupe.
Another teamwork, which is pretty devastating right now, backpedaling. He doesn't have a lot of defense. He has just the 9 or less avoid and the negate. which will not deal with those teamwork cards. So fingers crossed for Dave.
Another 7.5 multi for Electra. Great card. If it's not successful, though, she is -2 to defense for remainder of battle.
To reply, Gustav said he sold all of his overpower to Phil.
Well, have Phil build you a deck, and we'll see you at Boston. I think we're going to
Yep.
have almost... if everybody shows up, we may break the 40-person mark, which would be the biggest NAOL tournament to date.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic to have you. And I think since you gave him a great deal on those cards, he owes you.
He really does. All right. So this is probably going to be a hand that's bet for the win, but I think this hand is anybody's hand. You know, they both... I don't think Marcel's in a position where he has so much that this is an auto win by any means.
So he has 7 cards placed. Dave has 7 cards placed. So I think Dave has 5 in hand. I don't know how much Marcel has in hand, but he does have initiative with some teamwork strings. So depending on what defense Dave has in his hand, yeah, like you said, it's not a foregone conclusion. They'll have a fight.
All right. Marcel goes 2 for the win. Dave doesn't do anything crazy. He just grabs 2. Dave bets 2. So Dave's got to win this to stay in the game. He's still going to be down a lot.
Yeah.
But we also haven't seen Dave utilize his home base at all. Ooh, that's a rough card to see at this point. That's going to allow Marcel to look at the top 5 cards of the deck. Now, the advantage is whatever he takes, Dave is going to get to see it. So he will be able to plan for it. But it's going to allow Marcel to cherry pick the best card for this situation. Not something you want to have your opponent doing when they're betting 2 for the win.
Betting 2 for the win, yeah. And also, I know Dave. He is probably kicking himself. Like you said, he didn't get to take full advantage of Mirror Island, but he is also playing Might over Mind, which is a anti-teamwork mission set, and so far he has not been able to stop this teamwork strings that Marcel's throwing.
Yeah, so his deck has 3 events in it that shut down all the teamworks that would be in Marcel's deck. So
And
Marcel,
Electra, who has a confusion.
yeah, and he hasn't drawn. Well, he may have a confusion in hand. So Marcel has chosen to get a negate out. So Dave knows he has 2. Marcel's going to have 2 negates this hand.
Almost certainly for the 11 and whatever else he might have on the battle side. I like that play.
Let's see where Dave goes. I think Dave, yeah, at this point, since now you don't have the ability to get rid of the negate on spawn, I think he's going to, yeah, you just gun for the Starjammers. Hope you can put enough pressure to make them use cards that have a higher venture value than what's hitting. Marcel lets the 6 hit.
Go for value. He did let the 6 hit. Well, it's not for KO, and yeah.
So Electra has thrown a handful of shurikens into various members of the Starjammers.
He I think Dave was trying to suck out that power card advantage, that power card on Starjammers to try and maybe stop one of those teamwork strings.
All right, let's see what Dave has here. So finite power is okay. He's going to use the Mole Man negate.
You have to. Heroes for Hire is your punch.
He's going to throw another ally card. So that's a 3, and a teammate will make a special. I think there's a good chance we're going to see that 7 thrown off Electra. I don't think he's going to care if Electra's -2 to defense. And since 2 of the cards that Marcel probably will defend with are negates, if that's negated, the negative effect does not take effect. It just fizzles all effects of the cards. All right. That attack's defended. Marcel has to consider what to fire back. I mean, I don't see Marcel doing anything except just pressuring with those teamworks.
Yeah.
He's got to get him off while he can. I don't think this is the point where... I don't think you plan for the future. I think there's blood in the water. You've got a little bit of an advantage. You go in for the kill.
Yeah, you're going for the win. Dave can't have that. Looking at his team, he doesn't have that many defensive actions. So punch through something and leave it on the board.
So we didn't get to see this last time. So that's Marcel's Cataclysm. So when the Devourer of Worlds was banned, we at BMG created a subset of any heroes called Cataclysms. You have 5 to choose from. The one that Marcel is playing is the draw 3. So Marcel is going to draw 3 cards. Dave doesn't have a defense.
Yeah, he had to use his negate for his pin. So
Marcel
that's
draws 3. We don't see any discards go down. I hate to
yeah.
I hate to say it, but I think we probably just seen a 2-3-2 hand here. I think Marcel's just
The Cadillac is Cadillacing. It's
Cadillac is Cadillacing.
well, he did
Ooh. But let's see what
that.
happens here. Is that for the kill?
That is for the kill. It's
6,
a
19, 11, 12.
3-9-3. Yeah,
Oh, Marcel dropped his hand, which a lot of times is a uh-oh. So we may this might swing a little bit. We don't know what's in his hand. If Marcel does not have a defense for this, he loses 13 points in venture plus any Starjammer specials in hand. And that he also he hasn't generated any venture yet. Dave takes out the Starjammers with that 8. Wow.
Yeah. Good play. I did see he does have Fortress of Solitude, so he might be able to reset and go and try again for the win next time.
He sure can, but I don't necessarily know if that's. I mean, that keeps him. The thing about Fortress is Dave's not going for the win.
It's true.
Playing Fortress is great and all, but Marcel just went through his draw 3. He's gone through a lot of his heat, and he just lost his guy with the best 1 per decks. And I'm fairly certain we've seen all 3 of his negates and at least 2 of his 9 or less avoids. If Dave can somehow squeak this out, we may see the Cadillac run out of gas.
Yeah, absolutely. He is up 5 place cards to now 2. So playing that concede and reset might be the play because he can go 2 for the win next battle and be 3 up.
That is true.
And if he plays this, yeah.
I like this from Dave. You've been sitting under these negates so long. If he doesn't have anything else for heroes, just fire off that 11 and get rid of one of them. Your heroes can still attack if he uses the negate. Just get rid of one of them.
Yeah.
There we go. Now you're not dealing with that next time. Did we see him use? Does he still have the Scarlet Witch negate in his hand? I can't imagine he would use the placed one over the one in hand.
I don't believe he did because there's really nothing that was thrown that was any danger. But if you look at what Dave has produced for Venture, if you're Marcel, you almost certainly run and just make it up the next hand.
Wait, did he? I believe he used the negate on the Electra 7. Am I wrong?
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Let's see. Marcel's got 4 cards in hand. He's got 2 teamworks. Now, he may not have any follow-ups to those teamworks. He lost the 7 fighting, which was one of the follow-ups for those 2 teamworks. Scarlet Witch does not have a high grid outside of her energy. He may be in a position where he just can't. Dave might have thrown that 8 and successfully cut out.
Yeah, taking one of his legs.
25 points of venture. Yeah,
that was huge. Hence the dropping his whole hand on the table. Yeah. If I were Marcel, you certainly play the concede reset. Hope you get the power cards for the teamworks the next hand, and you're up 4 place cards to 1.
So there's a lot of talking going back and forth. I can't tell if they're ribbing on each other or they're just calculating strategy out loud.
Knowing Marcel, it's probably ribbing.
And knowing Dave, it's probably talking his strategy out loud. Wow. This is such an interesting spot. Just the fact that Dave has managed to generate the 17 points of venture.
Yeah,
and there we go.
It is.
I don't think he has no way he can stop it. Wow. He got rid of the Raza was in his hand. So when he killed him, he made the Raza dead. Now we also know
crushing.
we have not seen the 11. I believe we did. Did we see the draw 3 from Starjammers? I've seen it so many times today. Now I don't even remember.
The Starjammers have been a staple in today's tournament. I don't believe we saw anything at all. Yeah, so he's gonna have some Starjammer unusables for sure. If he can
Now,
avoid those this hand, he is still in a better position to win. He doesn't have
yeah,
initiative, but with those two teamworks, unless Dave can finally get one of his teamwork events, and I think he does.
all right.
Yeah.
Only teamworks that act as strength. Now, the Cadillac does not play any characters that can throw a strength teamwork. So
Oh,
Dave has essentially just dropped Marcel's placing advantage to 1 card. Now Marcel has to
two.
see, does he have any
Marcel.
Starjammers cards? So
He's
Dave has
drawing.
the avoid in the back. So he drops an 11 and a duplicate 8 from the placed 8. So Dave now, I believe, is going to be even on total cards that can be played. Marcel is representing 2 8s that can be played. Dave has the avoid on Spider-Woman, which can block one of those. It puts a 6 down. Dave puts a 3 down. Marcel drops the 6 or less avoid. He drops a 4 multi. The Cadillacs, he's not going to have a lot of heat left, but Dave's also not dropping scary things. That's a great card for Marcel. So that 2 enables at least one of those teamworks for the future.
For the future,
And
not for this
it's
battle.
for the future, but he's also placing it on Doctor Strange. So that puts David to a choice. Does he gun for Doctor Strange and try to get rid of his ability to use those? Oh, well, he's got another confusion. So now Marcel, who's been able to pressure Dave the whole game because Dave was having bad luck, Dave's going to be on the other end of it now, where all of those teamworks that Marcel has built up and is going to draw, he's going to have a really hard time doing anything that powerful with them.
No, I think you're right. The momentum has shifted. You're going to see Marcel losing Starjammers and having to rely on the punch of his teamworks, now running straight into Dave's anti-teamwork events that haven't come up yet.
Now, Dave's also another player I know who's a little notorious for taking a long time to make decisions. Dave's at 16 minutes, and Marcel is so far ahead on Venture. Dave's got to move this game along. I mean, this placing phase has already taken 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And when you're only playing a 40-minute round, you really got to be cognizant of that. So Dave bets 2. Marcel's got to think about what he's going to do here.
It looks like Marcel is placed out. So if Dave is tentative and just bets 1 or 2, then you can't bet 2 if you're under that mission. I mean, under that event.
Yeah,
unless
so
he just
Gustav,
doesn't have a good hand.
it's a great question, Gustav. So that timer is the amount of time that's left in the round. The way the end of it works is you get a 5-minute warning. Then when the time runs out, they call last hand. If you have already ventured, you will finish the hand that you're in and play an additional hand. If you haven't ventured, if you're still in the placing phase, the next time you venture, you'll finish the hand. The first thing you decide on, you take the amount of missions in the bottom, you subtract them from the amount of missions in the completed pile, and you get a number. Whoever has the higher number wins. If that's a tie, the next tiebreaker is the amount of characters who are still alive. And I believe the third tiebreaker, I get a little fuzzy, is if you both have the same number of characters still alive, you add up the total number of damage on all characters, and that becomes the third tiebreaker. And I know there's more, but it doesn't usually get past that, so. Yeah, so again, time's running out here, so decisions need to be made or it's going to put them in a really tough position.
Now, is Dave ventured, correct?
Dave has ventured 2, so Marcel is trying to figure out how many of those 2 missions he has to choose from that he's going to bet.
I believe we call that slow.
Now, if you're in this situation as Dave, who do you go for at this point, Shawn?
Well, you did say, go gunning Doctor Strange to try to take away that teamwork, but I don't think you have that ability. he can just take a low power card hit that the 2 could block, and then just fire off any teamwork that you'd like. You're probably just maybe Scarlet Witch. How many negates does he have left?
I mean, I think he's gone through them. Now that I've asked you, I think I go for Spawn. You know,
He has the placing advantage. He has the team defense.
and
You
at
might go
least
for it. Yeah, you
you
got to get rid of his the 7 and 6 fighting power cards.
That's what I was thinking is if you do go to Power Pack or later in the game, you're going to cut down the ability to Spectrum.
Attack the grid.
All right, so after a 6-minute venture period, we're going to decide how much to venture here.
He does have a negate in his hand, he just showed. So I'm sure he's kicking himself that he can't place it, because I'm sure that's his last one. He goes 1 and run.
Yep.
Like we knew he would.
I don't know. I thought there was a chance he might fight it out.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have initiative. He has a placing advantage.
I guess with the event is the big thing. Now, what Dave's really hoping happens here is Dave is far enough down in his deck. He may dupe on it, but he's really hoping he sees the any hero event that will make Marcel discard all his placed teamworks and then still not allow him to play teamworks.
Yeah, that would be a huge swing, because right now Marcel is up 8 placed cards to 5.
And he gets
there
it.
It is. There it
now
is.
Now it is going to be...
Go buy a lottery ticket. You are lucky.
So it's actually going to be... Marcel is going to now have 6 cards to Dave's 5 placed. But he has no teamworks. He can't throw fast strings. And if there are any teamworks in his hand, he's going to have to discard them. Now, it looks like Dave's got at least one dupe of the 5 and the avoid. Let's see what Marcel does here. I didn't see Marcel discard any dupes. He gets rid of a Starjammer's 8.
To correct you, you said if he has teamworks in his hand, he has to discard them. He still is legally allowed to place them.
I'm sorry, I meant place them. They won't be playable this battle, though. So that... Oh, Dave had a 3rd dupe. He had a dupe 3 that he almost missed. Marcel. So Dave places the 5 and then make an additional attack with a special on Heroes for Hire.
It is interesting that he placed that ally card on Heroes, considering that they are most of the offensive special cards are from him.
It is true. I would have thought that he would put that on Electra. He does have a lot of offensive specials with Electra. You know, so maybe he thought that was the hedge to make it most likely to be used.
He also hasn't really got to use that confusion, so he might be looking to pick off one of the plays. Oh.
Marcel bet 3. Dave draws a card.
3.
It's a duplicate Nightcrawler.
That's great.
Dave's taking a quick peek. All right, so Dave, I don't know what Dave bet, but Dave immediately throws the pin out. That will make, and he's got the any hero avoid.
Yeah, that was, I think, the only card in his deck left to deal with that pin.
Well, we saw that he had a negate, or was that last battle?
That was last hand. It was the only, he had that and Webhead in his hand. Now
he fires off with an ally.
He's probably trying to poke away that place card advantage, knowing that Dave probably has activators in his hand, doesn't want to use them for small defenses.
And he can throw a pretty good string here. I mean, he could, if he wanted, throw that 3, throw the 4 multi, and then throw the 7 if he wants to just hit with all really good offsuit cards.
Sure.
And I agree with Dave. Even though it's a placed advantage card, I think if you got the chance to just block the 3 with the 3, you take the even money on venture. Dave just cannot afford to lose a hand right now. He has to get that venture back, because if that time runs out, he needs to be in a position where even if he gives Marcel's cards, he can bet to decide it on the hand that it's played.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. When you're playing anti-teamwork, you're almost certainly not running teamworks, so you don't need that 3 to fuel anything. So 3 for 3 is a no-brainer.
Marcel's looking to follow up with a card from his hand. Puts it back.
It's so So juicy. That spawn making an additional is
Yeah. Dave blocks with a 5 any power. And he throws a 7. So exactly the string that we predicted.
Nosh Joe Damas right here, folks.
Nosh Joe Damas. I like that. Guys, write that down. TM pending. Nos Joe Damas. All right, I didn't see. So Dave does a Shadow Cat. Dave is gonna do the draw
Do the
3.
draw 3, knowing that his last negate was last hand.
Dave
So
draws 1. He gets to keep it. Dave draws a second one. He gets to keep it. He draws a third one. Wow.
as someone who plays Dave often, that doesn't happen.
That's that's like seeing a unicorn right there. Dave keeping all 3 in a draw 3.
Yeah. At best, he'll keep 2.
All right, Cheshire Cat comes through. That is an attack from a home base. It is an aspect card. That's the green border. That means it cannot be negated, but can still be blocked normal. Dave turns it to the side, which usually denotes a hit. Not sure if he's letting that hit or not.
So if I were Marcel, knowing the Muir Island, I would throw the 8 because Dave has not played a lot of Professor X cards, so he yep, look at that.
And he blocks with the 8 strength. All right. Ally on spawn. Yeah, I do. I feel like the tide is changing a little bit here. I mean, I can't predict. I have no idea who's going to win. This is anybody's game. I believe that's a 4 that can combine with something to make a single attack.
That's a 4 fighting. You can make an additional fighting against a different opponent.
Okay. Now, Dave likes to throw a lot of those little hits that way. And this is a really tough one because he's representing at that point that if he throws another JW off heroes, which we've only seen one this game, Marcel will not be able to defend spawn with a special. He could even throw a low power card and try to sneak something like that through.
He could throw a JW into his one of his training cards.
Marcel uses the discard a placed card on the 5 strength special. Not a bad idea, taking away a kill shot. Now, the other thing you might see here is, I was wondering if you might see Dave throw something with one of the training cards to try to juice up a power card attack, but he's just going to go for the venture and stack it up. That'll put Spawn at 13 points. That'll make it so a 7 will kill him. Marcel's going to use the 6 or less and get the maximum venture value.
Now they can't see the clock. They're about to get the 5-minute warning, so that should put a 5 under Dave's. But with him being so behind in venture.
So heroes for hire. He did not have a way to defend the 6. He flips heroes for hire.
So any JWs, 7 strengths and 8 strengths are now unplayable. That is big. They're slugging it out right now.
Now I can't. Dave, I think, can assume that somebody's gonna go for heroes or mole man. So I can't imagine he has hero stack too heavy. We have seen the 5. We have seen a JW. We have seen the 11. I feel like
maybe 2 more JWs and a white tiger. The 6 discard 2. Maybe he only runs 2 JWs. Knowing his math, if it's good enough to put 2, it's good enough to put 3. Did he just offer to shake his hand? Come on, shake it. I've got this. Shake my hand.
Yeah, we have not seen a social outcast played yet from Mole Man. It wouldn't matter here because it can't be played defensively, but do we know Marcel's going for the win, correct? He bet 2 from the top, 1 from the middle.
He bet 3, I think, and he drew it, right? And he bet 3, drew a Nightcrawler activator, and it was a dupe. So
Marcel's playing Professor X. He's probably going to launch the 4 for the kill.
And that is exactly why you don't throw the that Scarlet Witch 8. He was waiting. He was waiting to use that Professor X's no specials defense. So that's just Marcel having good knowledge of Muir Island.
Yeah, knowing that he wants to wait it out, so the big attack is the very last thing he has to throw.
Yeah.
Just reducing Dave's ability to block it by throwing small attacks.
Man,
5 intellect.
he has so much juice in his hand, even with the draw 3.
All right, there's the game.
There's the shake.
Marcel pulled out the venture win.
A fantastic game played by both sides.
Great game.
And,
And you know, all our ribbing on both players aside, they did not go to time.
Yeah.
Oh, he had a 7 any power in his hand still too. So
Jesus.
even with the draw 3, Marcel, he just got that venture advantage early and leaned on it.
Yeah, it's hard to come back when you placing advantage. Now Dave climbed back as best as he could, but his draw 3 didn't produce enough venture.
All right, guys. I believe that's going to be the end of the 5th match. So we still have 2 exciting rounds of Swiss that are going to happen. I'm going to take a break from the end of the commentary, and I'm going to go get some leaderboard numbers so I can report back on how everything's doing. We do know that Phil Miller, I believe, is undefeated going into this round. We'll see how he did this round. And when we start the next round, I'll have some more stats and statistics for you.
Doesn't look like the brackets have been updated yet, but Phil's up against Greg Costa.
All right, I'm going to go take a peek and see how that's going.
Oh, that'd be a great game.